Good morning, everyone. As we center for our morning prayer, sometimes the prayers are affirming, sometimes asking, and sometimes they're a way of sharing what we see and feel. And this morning, something very, very beautiful and unique is happening. Wow. Wow, it's extraordinary. There's this beautiful blanket of the Divine Mother's energy just laying over everyone here. And watching online, we affirm it for you too. But from this blanket of light, I'm seeing just this, like several extensions of that light becoming each angels with their hands on our shoulders. Each of us taking a moment to receive a blessing that for some reason today has been ordained for this. We have forgotten what to ask for. You know our question, you know our answer, and you know the gifts that come from this answer. So today's prayers are just silence and acceptance. Glorious angels of light present, thank you. Guardian angels, thank you. Presence of the divine, mother aspect of God, the Holy Spirit. Thank you for your Shekinah presence. And so it is.
Please join me in reading our mission statement, which you'll find on the white cards and the seat backs in front of you. And together we say, the Global Center for Christ Consciousness is a spiritual center for students and masters on the spiritual path. We are dedicated to awakening the inner Christ and to creating a world of love, peace, joy, and abundance. And now for our sacred reading for today.
From the book of 1 John. God is love. Whoever lives in love lives in God, and God in them. This is how love is made complete among us, so that we will have confidence. In this world, we're like Jesus. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment. The one who fears is not made perfect in love. We love because he first loved us. Whoever claims to love God, yet hates a brother or a sister, is a liar. For whoever does not love their brother and sister, whom they have seen, cannot love God, whom they have not seen. And so it is.
Wow. What a morning, huh? Jeez. In the mornings, we usually ask what you'd like me to talk about. But I think it's just already coming through. So apply whatever we talk about to whatever is on your mind. I'll let you do the work part of it. There's a saying in the Bible, wherever your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And it's kind of a challenging one for some people to understand the meaning, because it's almost like a Yoda-ism, you know. Yoda speaks in that anastrophe, it's called, you know, language. So you switch and you do, you switch the object, subject, verb part of a sentence. So you flip it around. So you might say, tired you are, you know, you flip things around. And that's actually, it's interesting because we think that Hebrew is written backwards, but it's actually human beings that are backwards. It's true. Those languages, the right brain should come first, and writing right to left should be first, and the sentence structure. You know, Yoda using that, of course, and some parts of the Bible and other mystery teachings, deeper teachings. And there's a reason for that, because it flies in under the radar. By flipping words around, your brain can't just go, whatever, blah, blah, blah. It has to go, wait, what? You know, what was just said? So it's a way to kind of trick the mind. Because the ego, when it's in charge, it wants to classify, categorize everything the way it wants so that it can lock things in for your own ego meaning. When something throws it in, like flips it, the ego has to say, wait a second, I was gone for a minute, because it usually checks out. It just leaves you on automatic screwed up, you know, automatic pilot, you know, but automatic, you know. And so it just runs people that are not awake. It just runs them in this trance. That's what the ego does. Keeps everybody in a trance, and as long as nobody's thinking, you know, clearly, then it doesn't really have to work so hard. But what happens is when we start to go, wait, there's got to be another way of dealing with this. Wait, there must be some hope for me. When you ask questions like that, A Course in Miracles will say your ego will go from being suspicious to vicious, because it cannot afford having you wake up. Because when you wake up, you don't destroy it, it stops existing. And proportionately so. As I'm waking up, the more things of my past start to sort of fall away. So this concept, wherever your treasure is, there will your heart be also. And what that means in part is, and it's very deep to understand this, the things you value the most, that's where your heart is. Now, it can sound beautiful, like a romantic thing. You know, wherever your treasure is, there will your heart. It sounds almost beautiful and poetic. I don't have to think about what it means because it just sounds nice. But you should think about what it means, because really what it's saying is the things you value, the word treasure, the things you value the most, there will your heart be also. Again, sounds beautiful. Oh, because I have loving thoughts in my heart about my furry, you know, animal friend, you know, dog, cat, and there will my heart be also. Oh, it just sounds beautiful. You know, you can put it on a card and it sounds nice. No, it goes deeper than that. The things you value, whatever you most want to see unconsciously, though, whether you consciously or unconsciously want something in your life, there will your heart be also means we will also discover the source of that thing in your life that you value. Whatever you value came from your heart and soul. Not just there will your heart be also. It means we will catch your heart in the act. Whatever you have going on in your life comes from your most dominant thoughts and beliefs that you hold where? Here. So if the things in my life are rooted in here, look at what you treasure, there will your heart be also. Meaning the source of whatever's going on in your life is right here. Some of us go, God, that sounds beautiful. Until you find out it means your ex, the job you lost, the friends who threw you under the bus. Well, wait, you said the things I value. I don't value those. That's why it gets weird. Because taking responsibility is in the top 3 things that most determine how spiritual you are. Now, sleeping humans, they don't believe, they think everything's happenstance and we're just victims. And you're allowed to be one of those. Waking humans start to go, I don't know, man, maybe that's not the way it is. Maybe we're not victims. Awake humans are like, there's no other option. This is all coming from here. What I see and experience in the world comes from here. But today's concept, this quote that's popping in my head, there will your heart be also, is telling us you actually have value put in it. When you lost your job, it didn't originate outside. It originated in your heart and soul. But this quote says, where your treasure is, will your heart be. This is scary because what he's telling us is you actually think there's a value in getting fired. What value could there be in that? Because it proves that you're right, that you're not worth anything. Oh, yeah, right? Can I hear an amen? Yes, Jesus. Okay, so so it gets really, now please bear with me. Okay, you created this after all. So, so bear with me. I don't think this is easy stuff for any of us. There are moments we all slip into, I'm a victim. I mean, it's just easy to do. The 3D world is designed to make there always be other people that either are the source of your love, oh, I can't wait to meet them, which doesn't arrive, and if it does, they die or leave. And that's why Buddha says the world is suffering. No matter, even if you manifest something you want, it can't last forever, so you're going to end up upset. So he's like, so don't bother. I mean, you can't find that in a book of quotes by Buddha, but trust me, it's what he's saying. Why bother? Like, okay, the world is a place of suffering. But then he says, but there's a solution. Look at your attachments. Oh, he means money. No, he means the people that you have a value, a treasure. You have an investment in them being something for you that they can't be, or being the cause of your problems. Everybody's up creek. They're either the one that caused your problems or the ones that didn't give you the solutions the way you wanted them. You know that, what? We should have talked about this on Valentine's Day. Really blow everybody's day, right? But honestly, when people say, oh, I'm so spiritual, don't tell me how spiritual you are. Just show me how much you take responsibility. Now, responsibility doesn't mean you walk around going, I just can't believe everything's my fault. It's raining today, and Michael said it's my fault. I'm not saying that, although I am. It's true that we are personally and collectively creating everything. And when you lose the job, it's your boss, it's coincidence, or it's the astrological alignments today, or it's always something. And I understand your pain, because if it weren't those things, then it's you. And that feels like a heavy burden to take on. But God is saying to us, you're living in this delusion that there's others and that it's everybody else, everything else. And you know what? How could you not live in terror if everything's out to get you? If you believe, even if you think sometimes people cause your problems, or sometimes people do not step up to be your solutions, even if that's only sometimes, how do you know which times it is? And if you don't know when that is, you're going to live tense, not knowing, because you'll never know the answer. Your soulmate knows right around the corner, just waiting and waiting in anticipation, which means right now you don't have it, which means right now you don't have peace. And if I don't have peace right now, how can I create peace for tomorrow? If today is creating tomorrow, and today I'm not doing well, how could you possibly expect your mate, soulmate, spiritual mate, is going to be your solution? You have to find peace now to see peace tomorrow. And if I find peace now, I can also download it to the past. So my whole experience goes from here and now, peace. And then it starts going this direction and that direction, past and future. And all of a sudden, my life is changing. I just feel like I'm walking in the light of God. It's amazing. But, it's not always easy because you're walking, you're like, well, wow. Just, how you doing? Gloriously. How are you? Good. And you walk and, it's going to happen that people are going to say, well, I'm glad you're doing well because everybody I know just died. And they all had the safe deposit box keys and numbers. So everything I own and everything they left me, I can't find. But I'm fine. Glad you're doing well. How is that not going to be you saying, oh, I'm sorry, I'm not doing as well as I thought? The ego's going to tell you, a conscientious person's going to dial it down. Hide your light. Hide your joy. When you talk to a friend who says, my divorce is going through, it's been a terrible year. And you're like, I don't even understand that. I've never had codependence like that, so I'm good. Really? You're going to make people feel worse by you feeling better. That doesn't mean I'm saying to hide your light. I'm saying it's about tactfulness. Flying in under the radar, dropping seeds of light and being there with them. And if they cry, be there with them at that level. Really, that's, you've heard me say this many times, but that's all about bridging. So this idea, when you have things happen, when it says there will wherever your treasure is, the word treasure, try to think in terms of the terms such as whatever you're most invested in, whatever you most value, which doesn't make sense because, again, you're going to say, well, I don't value war. So then why are we co-creating war? And I'm telling you, it's hard to understand it. Some part of us actually has to believe there's a value in it or it cannot happen. Okay? Which brings us to another popular saying. And, we think, I'll believe that when I see it. You've heard of that one. I'll believe that when I see it. Sounds like a steady, simple, oh yeah, sarcastic, oh yeah, I'll believe that when I see it. Which would be like, whatever, somebody's ball team that's not won in 50 years suddenly wins, and wow. But somebody tells them that, they'll be like, they never win. I'll believe that when I see it. So it's an affirmation of a skeptic. But the truth sentence is flipped, just like language is written backwards that are actually right. You'll see it when you believe it. But the ego world will say, no, because I believe that I'm going to win the lottery right now. Where is it? There's no manifested check. So the world will always try to prove the truth of God incorrect. So we walk around, I'll believe that when I see it. If you had God standing at your side, Jesus standing at your side, or whatever, some being of that light, and you said, hey, God, Abraham, when his wife overhears, Abraham, you're going to have a child soon, and it'll be at this point. And his wife started laughing at the message from God. She's like, apparently, wait. Apparently, God doesn't understand that when you're 800, I'm exaggerating, it's hard to have children. Call me silly. But, she laughs. And again, God is always trying to download love and peace and joy and oneness and abundance to us in every form. But we're like this deflection kind of a game going on in our minds, and we just deflect it. Well, why would you deflect the winning lottery? And that gets really tricky, because who in their right mind would deflect romance? I would like a better relationship. I want a new job. I would like to win the lottery, whatever. So we can say that. And if we're reasonably good, decent, or healthy kinds of people, that'll be easy to manifest, seemingly easy to manifest. You think. So we say, okay, I'm ready. I'm ready for a relationship, God. I'm ready for a new job, God, whatever, you're looking for. The problem is there's parts of us that are conflicted with that idea. I mean, it's strange. But some of us have done things like, I'd like to create a new relationship. But you don't, because there's a part of us that doesn't believe we're lovable, thinks we're separate from God, undeserving. Some of us are so specific about why we don't manifest that new relationship, and it could be thoughts like, no, because I want my ex to see what they've done to me. I'm alone and sad. I'm going to take videos of me and my 8 cats and just sitting on a rocking chair. I would have had a life had you not deserted me. And A Course in Miracles talks about this. You'll hold up a picture to the rest of the world with your face wet with the tears of injustices that have been done to you. And that's very gruesome if you think about it. Why would we want war? I can tell you a good reason. Why do we want, we have nothing to do with it because it's somewhere else. There's always wars or whatever, right? So there's some war going on. Has nothing to do with us. Yes, it does. How are we participating in co-creating a war? And I don't mean the politics and the money going on behind it. I'm saying there's a part of us that says collectively around the planet, a bunch of us goes, hey, I have an idea. Anybody else living over here, let's go ahead and vote subconsciously that a war take place over there. Why? Because we don't want it here. Yeah, honestly. Somebody will walk in sick, and there's a part of us that's grateful that it's them and not us. It's gruesome if you really try to get down to how this works. And that's why we learn to affirm things like, I want nothing for you but God. I want nothing for you but love. And that's not always easy. The ex that's like, sending you photos and videos back with the Ferrari. It's only a 2-seater, but he's got somehow 3 young girls in it, and hey, and you're, meow, meow. I'll feed you soon, honey. But mommy doesn't have any money for cat food. And now, why would he send you videos? To show you how well he's doing. Because he wants to punish you for daring to leave him and making him feel humiliated. These are just examples. It's not like it's specific to any one person. Do you get what I'm saying? Like, it's weird. So, wherever my treasure, my investments are, there's my heart, meaning the source of this. So whatever I see, I must have wanted it on some level. Now that gets, like I said, gruesome, because there's gross things that have happened to us and others that we would say, no, we can't have manifested it. Listen, I'm not saying that you literally said, I want that abuse today. I'm saying that even when we doubt our divinity, it's enough that it opens a door for such things to happen. Is that making sense? Just doubting who you are. As soon as you doubt who you are, which is about every second of every day, as soon as you doubt who you are, you alter what will come to you. I am as God created me. I will to be the Christ on earth. That brings some kinds of experiences. The opposite would bring the opposite. It's just that simple. Doubting who I am. So I could say, but why would I have a value in this? Or I'm trying to create a new job and it's not happening. The number of things we do to sabotage it could come from soul contracts, guys. Why isn't my new job happening? Because I could have a soul contract from 5 lifetimes ago that says I don't deserve. You see? You could have, astrological configurations. And part of us, we believe in these things. Where are your beliefs stored? In your heart. So if you want to know why you have things going on, it's not just good things or bad things either. Because the good or the bad things that are happening are things we actually value. We actually think there's a value in someone leaving us not getting the job. This is a lot, I know, for us to accept, but it's how it works. And if you don't want to believe me, we're back to the topic of responsibility. So you can sit here and say, oh, this guy's a total jerk. I don't mind, because that's just you not wanting to hear this. And that too shall pass. The day will come. You can't enter recovery. You can't go to a 12-step group and go, hi, I'm here, and they say, hi, nice to see you. Yes, and I'm not an alcoholic. But everybody makes me into one. And because of my mother, and then because of my genetics, and they're not usually going to go, oh, well, you just changed the whole program for all of us. We should just sit around and make lists of who to blame. You can't. They're going to say, no, listen, what in you is happening? What's happening here inside of you? Because they're trying to get you to look at the roots of the manifestations. And there's funny things we do, and there's tragic things we do. It's kind of funny thing the other day. Like you folks know, most of you know that I'm not, into foods like veggies and all that much. I've never done that. I never did that. But I have a big, beautiful vegetable garden because I love color. So I've got all these things growing, and I don't know what they are, but there's, beautiful colors, amazing, and I also love scent. And some of them have scent, and I'm like, I can just put up a hammock right there and just sleep if I wanted to. I love the garden, but I just don't eat anything out of it. Well, so somebody was saying, you could eat that. This thing and that thing. No. And it's been years. I mean, we had a retreat center all through the 2000s, and beautiful, giant garden. I don't know, it might have been the size of this room, but it was a beautiful garden. People would tend to it. People would pick from it and feed people that are coming for retreats, but I never ate anything out of it. However, the other day I'm like, you know what, Michael? Yes, Michael. Let's try something new. They said you could eat these. They're just onion type of sprouts. I'm like, well, I don't know what that's going to be like. So I take these 2 stalks, and I'm like, and I really liked that. Oh, that's a nice scent. And it's just juice is pouring out of it. I'm like, wow, this is really, wow. And I'm like, that's not bad. And then all of a sudden this fire shot through my face. This is less than a week ago. This fire shot through my face. And you know what I start thinking immediately? So when they find the body, that's what I'm thinking. Should I just lie back and hold a chamomile if I know what it looks like, or some sort of lily or something? I mean, I'm thinking I just probably ate something that's, poisonous. Now, on a subconscious level, you know what this is? Me saying, I told you, don't eat vegetables. Do you see? And you'll do this with, I want a new relationship. You try one, and the person's just not very kind, and then you do that. Self-fulfilling prophecy, it's called. I knew I should never, ever trust any human being. And you got 8 cats. These are self-fulfilling prophecies. You know what? I'm going to write a song. I'm feeling it from God. I'm feeling it from Spirit. I write this song because there's a contest going on and $1 million to the winner. I wrote it and I didn't win. I knew I was asking too much. God, I thought you were there. And see what I'm doing? All these things are just to verify our undeservability. However, it's very important because we're going to get heartbroken when this happens. Where will your heart be also? So if I'm invested in something going my way, that means I'm invested in my heart and soul. Heart and soul, not just financial, lower chakras, not just humanly, emotionally. It's mind, body, soul. I'm invested in this going right. And we set ourselves up, obviously, because it's going to crash in some way, shape, or form, most likely, because things end on this planet. So we say, well, I decided to have faith and get spiritual, and I put it out there that my life's going to improve. But I don't see the results of my prayer. I prayed 2 days in a row. I fasted for 24 hours. I went to a group of people, and they all put their hands on me and said, yes, you'll win the lottery. And it just didn't happen. And I need to tell you, it almost never will the way you think. And that adds more heartbreak. So using that, I just mentioned garden, you can plant something. That doesn't mean it starts sprouting today, does it? Almost never. What if you're really hungry? Oh, that'll help. No, you don't understand plants. I'm really hungry. There's not even buds yet. You being hungry does not make your garden bloom. Right? You can pray, and it doesn't mean it'll bloom. You can say, I just want to see the beauty of my garden. It doesn't matter. You stepped into a garden that already got planted at a certain time of the year, and it needs certain cycles to happen, certain watering and sun and time for it to come to fruition. So why do we pray and expect everything right now? It's not realistic. But why would I invest? Why would my treasure be, meaning my investment, my hopes and dreams, be in a garden that I just planted and expect to sprout now? It isn't the fault of the plants. It's not like this is evil asparagus. I didn't plant it until today. I decided to change my life today. And it's just going to likely happen that means there are some old things that have to pass away, such as the stuff that comes up inside of me when I don't see the fruit right now. I want the relationship now. And it should be happening now. My astrologer said, the first week of this month, greatest fortune I've ever had in terms of partnership. And it's not happening. Be careful. You're invested in that. And that's rooted in your heart and soul. So there's a part of us that says, I want that new relationship, but what we don't know is all these other weird filters I don't deserve. It's not time. Well, in all kinds of things you wouldn't expect. But one of them, using the cat lady example, she might be able to create a relationship. The doors might be open. It's like the cycles might be turning and it reaches its zenith and it's like, any moment now, here comes a relationship. She could actually go, what if they don't like cats? And sabotage the whole thing. Do you get what I said there? You could. You could be like, I'm open and I want to meet somebody who's like me and obsessive about diet and health. Then you meet some guy and he's perfect in so many ways, but he's like, you see him at McDonald's. A burger, whatever they call it, those Mac things. So he's eating a Mack truck or whatever they're called, right? And you just sit there going, I should have known. You made me think you were a healthy vegetarian, but no. You could. And this is what we're doing all day long. And then we dare to look to the heavens. Why, God? And God's like, come on. I have had nothing to do with any of this. As I see you, whole and perfect. You don't know that. You think you're incomplete. You think you're flawed. And therefore, because that's your beliefs, which are the roots, that's the fruit that comes forth. When I heal this enough, I start seeing changes. Now, the people into things like power of thinking, law of attraction, they're going to say, no. You just have to think long enough and hard enough on something and you manifest it. There's a term for that in psychology. It's called obsessing. Think about it. The people, no, just think about it long and hard enough. Okay, no. Yeah, you're mine. You're mine. This is called black magic, by the way. When you're trying to manipulate people to marry you, you're mine. You just don't know it yet. I'm your life mate, and we go back. We lived in Afghanistan or South America. We go way back, and you're mine. And oh yeah, I know you're married, but get over that. I'm here. I'm waiting. That's obsessing. So it's kind of funny because it's an unhealthy psychological attribute to do the things they're telling you to do to get what you want. You don't need any of that. You're mine. You don't need that. What you need is a change in your heart, which is kind of interesting because some part of everybody knows, I know what Michael's up to. He's telling us that change your heart and the rest doesn't matter. No. I want that person. See what's happening? You're invested in getting them, that one, when you want them, how you want them. If it doesn't happen, heaven help the person that looks like they're keeping that back. Because rage is going to come forward. Romance sounds kind of nice and all that, and it can be if it's an extension of already being plugged in to who you are. But when it comes from neediness, it can try to look sweet for a minute or two. Really, and we're really connecting, and I've just sent your vibrations are really compatible to mine, and all this other, Whole Foods conversations stuff. And whatever you talk about at those places. So there's all this really cool dialogue, which you're really saying deep inside, not consciously. Unconsciously, there's a part of you that's saying, listen, I feel separate. You better fix that or else. Even though on the outside, oh, beloved, oh, soulmate. On the inside, dude, I'm serious. You better or else. And that's why A Course in Miracles can be a turnoff to some people because it's so blunt about this. That you want to almost destroy those who don't play the game. And you can lighten up the way you hear this by just remembering it's your wholeness waiting for you, not a person. It's your wholeness. And when you find that wholeness, you can share it with other people. This is not about being abstinent. We've done that in other lifetimes, and that causes us misery to this day. All the no, and back off, and God's my partner. And you can have that, but you can also play while you're here. It's called a happy dream, or a happy ending, or something. Sorry. Some kind of happy. But this is not about your thinking. I'm going to think hard enough to get what I want. It's in your beliefs. So look, if I said to you, I believe in you, would you say that's a fairly kind comment? Yes or no? What if I said, I think I believe in you? Do you feel the same way? No. Right? That means there's a chance of doubt. Believing means I'm wholeheartedly in this. The bad news is we have beliefs we know not of. And that's why step work, tracking, and other forms of looking inside, hypnotherapy, etc., to find these roots that you did or did not know were there, because they're undermining your life. Your beliefs are undermining your life, which is why I say you need soul level healing, because these things are rooted in your soul here. Not your divine spirit self up here, your soul, the believer here. So I need to get my beliefs to be wholehearted. So if I say, all I want is greater income, and I not only believe I deserve it, I believe I'm going to get it, and all my thoughts and everything else, lower center, line up with it, yes, then you're going to get it. I've shared this story several times, but Edgar Cayce, an incredible clairvoyant, the greatest the planet's seen, and there was a point where they were asking him, can you tell us where to drill for oil to hit oil? Now, he wasn't into doing material things like that. However, it was going to help fund, they were going to give him a cut for funding a hospital where he could do direct work to heal people, which is fantastic. So his intentions were really beautiful, sublime. But not everybody in this group of people wanted to be philanthropic. Some were there for what? Money. Prestige, fame, success, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Deep down, some of them may have had failed, ventures in the past, which means this one would prove that, psychologically they're not a failure. I mean, you have investments. You follow? So they ask Edgar Casey, well, okay, where do we drill? 18 feet to the right of where you're at now. Okay, they move, no oil. Keep going, no oil. You're almost there, keep going. They run out of money. They all hate each other. Everybody's upset, and they don't strike oil. So they ask him, why didn't we strike? He said, because each of you wants something different. Now, all these new agers, they were penduluming, over. They were dousing over it. The oil's there. They're visualizing. They're lighting green and gold candles at home. We're going to be wealthy. And all this wonderful, great visualization, new age stuff. But they didn't find the oil. They sold the well. Somebody else bought it and struck it immediately. And you know who struck it and why? Somebody that wanted nothing but money. And we might say, well, I don't want to be like them. Now you just sabotaged your own income because you don't want to be like those greedy people. Forget your judgments of greed. Listen, here's the amazing thing. The lesson I just told you, the amazing story, the miracle, is not about somebody who was crawling, on their hands and knees to hope for a job, and then suddenly somebody picked them up in their car and handed them $1 million. This isn't a miracle story, but it is. It's just not the one we're used to hearing. The miracle in this, the lesson in this, is to not be divided. Divided we fall. When you want something truly desired, truly, but not just on a desire level, you have to also believe that it's right for you. And the problem is, they're drilling for oil. Some of those people, including Casey himself, they were undermining the project because deep down they've heard money leads to greed. Greed leads to this and that, right? So these programs, you and I have to step up and go, no, wait a second. I'm not going to allow something my grandmother told me 50 years ago to screw up my life today. If you don't have babies, you're not a complete woman. Oh my God, now, like 80 years later, you're still waiting because I'm not a complete woman. I guess I have to come back in another life to be Listen, she lied to you. She only said it because she's messed up. She needs to go to the other side. They need to find her a family that won't listen to her so she finally learns to stop saying stupid things. That's as profound as I'm going to get today. So, but seriously, say no. Stop believing in these things. I mean, am I wrong to say that? Inaccurate to say that? No. We have the right. Don't hate the people that fed you those lies. Don't hate them. Forgive them. They know not what they do. Your mother who says, you're not a complete woman. Your grandmother, you're not a complete woman unless they're off their rocker. They're just wrong. But also, if you divorce, you're going to hell. If you eat fish on the wrong day of the week, that religion will say, it's a sin. And then they change their mind. Now I don't get it. Which one do I believe? Well, we, through council and votes, decided it's now okay. How do I know you won't change your mind the next day? I want a God that is, and it always is, consistent, true, loving, peaceful, joyous. I don't want one that's bad mood today. That's a bipolar deity. I don't want one that goes this way one day and that way. I want God. And I want to feel the presence of God. And anytime I start to buy into, well, I could be a great person, but I'm wrong. I went over here instead of here. But that can't be God's voice, say to yourself. If I die without being married, I'm an old maid. Listen, where did you get that? Who decides these things? I think the word old maid I've only ever heard on Beverly Hillbillies. It's a black and white show from 50 years ago. I think it's funny at times, but that's not what I take as my truth. Otherwise, I would be walking around talking like Jethro. That's not my gospel. My gospel is deservability. My gospel is I can even be a man named Jed, who's a poor mountaineer, barely kept his family fed. And then one day, when I'm just shooting at some crude up from the ground, food up from the ground comes bubbling crude. That's a miracle. That's me. That's what I want from that show. Yeah, wow. Some of you are looking at your partners going, see what you brought me to, man? You have to believe it to see it. Some part of you, even when you were thrown under the bus, abused, neglected, cheated on, please be patient with this concept. Some part of you had to have believed it was in the realm of okay. Don't take it on as a guilt and shame. That ruins the lesson. Then how can we do this? How could it have been true without it becoming guilt and shame? It's very simple. Because I don't know. I don't have to know what lifetime I did something to bring this about. And it may not have been another lifetime. It could have just been a general belief I don't deserve goodness. Like something could be trying to change. Your angels could be coming to you saying, sweetheart, we'd like to bring you this here. And you could be like a sibling in a family. And they brought you this incredible relationship. But you could be nothing to do with sabotaging that. Listen how this can work. You might just go, but my sister tends towards depression and she hasn't had a partnership. Subconsciously, I could feel guilty about having a better life and making her left out. So out of my desire to be kind to her, I might not get my good. I've done that myself, just consciously though. That's the weird part. When you see these things, it's even weirder. But one time when I was a kid, I was getting interviewed by this school principal to be an assistant teacher. And she's going, so do you have education? No. Do you know how to type? No. Do you know how to work Xerox machines? No. I can't even spell Xerox. So I'm like, it's not adding up. And she goes, this is the weirdest interview I've ever had. She goes, there are school teachers out of work that are fighting for this job as an assistant. And I'm wanting to give you the job for some reason. Now, I had a new baby. I was married, and I absolutely needed the money. Moved to a new location, and we didn't have anything. But I got this job, and you know what I did? I said, give it to somebody else. Yeah. Because I felt there's somebody who, first of all, more qualified, but I always felt this way. If my father, one time he brought something home and it was really cool, I wanted it, my brother wanted it. What I said to my brother was, if you want that more than I do, you can have it. I've always felt like if something is more important to someone else, I kind of let it go. That's always the way I discerned things. Somebody could like something in my house, and say, oh, I really love that statue or whatever. If they love it more than I do, I'm like, okay, take it. That's how I feel. That's what I do often. Do you remember that happening, Roger?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, a friend. Yeah, good memory. See?
We were talking about it this morning in the car on the way out. I promise you. Exactly.
What are the odds? What are the odds of that? But this is, when you live plugged in, man, there is no thing called synchronicity. That's what it was called when you weren't in it all the time. Now it's just, I don't know. It becomes like confusing, like bizarre, because everything's so plugged in. On the way here, he's talking about this story that I've not mentioned,
I have a witness here.
Yeah? He brought a friend from out of the country, brought a friend to visit that somebody I met before, and the guy wanted to say hello. They came to my house, we walked around, and there was this one thing out of the things I have that I collected over all my touring years. Oh my God, I love that. I said, take it. That's how I feel. And with that job, I'm telling you, it wasn't easy. But I felt the greater good was there's a grown-up here that has a house and a mortgage and they don't have a job. Yes, I'm in a desperate situation, but I could work selling, serving ice cream somewhere. This is a grown-up who has much bigger issues, mortgage and responsibilities. So I didn't feel right taking that job from that person. That's how I looked at it. Now, sometimes God's going to say to you, you're going to take it anyway. There's something I need you to do here. I'm not saying you always walk away from opportunities. I'm saying I consciously said no to something. I could have said, it's a miracle. Everybody else is more qualified and God gave me this job. I can't do that with a clear conscience. That's just how I'm wired. So I'm like, yeah, you probably shouldn't. She's like, what? Yeah, just, it's okay. Now, when I get in the car, I'm sure I'm thinking, you idiot, But I know me, and I'm like, you know how this is going to work. Yes, it always works out. And it's okay. I was going to move to a place called Sedona in 1984. Did you hear when I went? I almost didn't want to say the year because I'm so old. But anyway, I almost moved. I came here. I looked around. I said, wow, this is really beautiful, and it feels comfortable. It feels right. And some other things came up that made me sabotage it, meaning just choose not to do it. And I moved to the Pacific Northwest. Cycles come around. And so the door opened, I came here, looked, and I didn't manifest it. I looked at this house. I was a kid still. And I looked at this house and I'm going, oh, there's something I can't afford. Okay, that's cool. I'd love to live in that if I had more than $10. There was no way, but I still pursued it. What was the point of coming all this way? Oh, and it was a bizarre trip. I didn't know this. I've never driven anywhere. Southern California, and I'm driving through the desert in the middle of the night. We started in the late afternoon. I had done a lecture somewhere, even though as a kid I was already teaching. Did a lecture somewhere, got a couple friends, we got in the car, and we drove. They slept. I didn't know what this was like. When the sun comes up, you should see the number of rabbits that run in front of you. And finally, because I'm not going to want to hurt the rabbits, so I'm like, into the desert, boom, boom, boom. And my friend's on the back seat sleeping, trying to sleep, and he's hitting the ceiling, and he's going, you idiot, what are you doing? There was a rabbit. I was a kid. I never knew I did any of this. So all these weird experiences, but I came all this way. Oh, and there were UFOs. One was following us from behind. It stayed the same distance. If I sped up, it would speed up. If I slowed down. And I'm like, looking in the rearview mirror going, okay, so I'm going to get abducted in the desert in Arizona. My friend's sleeping. All he's going to know is a guy and gal. And all they're going to know is when they woke up, he was gone. Then they're going to get accused and arrested because they know the body's out there somewhere in the desert. So I'm making up the stories because I got nothing else to do because it's the middle of the night and I'm driving through the desert to Sedona that I've never been to. So why did I waste all that time and energy and almost get abducted? And there were times, lights in the distance. Thank God, it'll be a town. And it was just nothing but like, this is a long time ago, and it's these small towns. It's like there's a bar and 18, trailer homes or whatever. And I'm like, and they're all sleeping. There's nobody going to help me from these aliens. But anyway, I would try to speed again, get out of there, get to the next town. And I did this all night long. So why did all that happen? It's funny. It's not funny. It's a waste of time. I didn't move here because planting seeds in that year became fruitful 40 years later or whatever number of years. You see? It's kind of strange. You might be planting seeds 30 years ago in your 5th marriage that might not come to fruition till you meet your 7th, just as an example. You don't know. The things you think are mistakes, you don't know. But I can tell you this, whether they are or are not mistakes, when you turn them over, they're set right. You could have done the things that nobody would argue that it's the biggest mistake, dumbest thing anybody on the planet has ever done. But when you turn it over and say, God, I'm not going to call it good or bad. I don't know. All I know is I'm giving this to you. That marriage, that job, that decision, my life, whatever, I'm just turning it over to you. That's part of what the definition of being born again is. The old me that thought this and that and what was my right decisions, wrong decisions. A Course in Miracles explains the things that you think were your greatest setbacks were some of your greatest achievements, such as saying no to that relationship, I'm a failure. Now I don't have a relationship. And on the inside, on a soul level, and with your angels, everybody's partying going, thank God. Thank God you got rid of them. Dump the chump. You go, like it's okay. That's their affirmation from the heavens. It's okay. Other times, as it says in the chorus, some of your greatest achievements, I beat that person out of that job, are your greatest setbacks. When you allowed ego and fear to slip in there and manipulate the mind and think, this, this and that. One of the greatest affirmations is I don't know. And people don't use it often enough. I don't know doesn't mean scratch the head, I'm really lost. It means, show me, yeah. I don't know, show me. I mean, I think this is, a great relationship. This is a great job. I think, but I don't know. You show me. When we do that, man, things are stripped away where light can come pouring in. Good that we didn't imagine could come our way starts coming our way. So we realize not only is it true that you will see it when you believe it, listen carefully, it's also absolutely factual and true that you can't see it unless you did believe it. Okay, you had me for a while there, Michael, but no, not that one. Because that one means that I could not have manifested a bad relationship unless that were in my belief systems. And I'm sorry, but that's what I'm saying. I know that's not easy to hear or digest. But has blaming anyone or anything else, from the stars to genetics, has that brought you peace? Probably not. Judging and blaming others does make you feel good for a moment. Often. It's like an air bubble, and you burp, and I feel a little better. Great. Glad you feel better. But you know what? You try that with relationships. I sat with this, and why, Lord, why? And then this voice of my girlfriend, my best friend said, it's not you, it's them. Oh, I hadn't thought of that. I feel better. All you did was burp a judgment. And it feels a little better. It's so quick and easy to blame someone else for anything and everything. And I'm talking blame the stars, blame genetics, blame people. I get it. I do. It's easier to judge because now, look how quick, all I had to do was go them, and I feel better. But now, what you've done is you'll take the judgment of them, let's say it's a male, men, the judgment isn't just the judgment now. You know what you're going to do? You're going to have a conclusion. You're going to have a summary. Not only was it him and not me, it's men. They just can't be trusted. You know what's going to happen now? Your soul's going to go, and so it is. And now it has to bring 5 more of them. Because, and they're justified. Your soul is justified. Your angels, they're all sitting around talking about this. They're justified. Do you know how they're justified? To bring you 5 of what you didn't like with you when you had 1? Because they go, well, maybe they'll get it if there's 5. If 1 can slip under the radar and they don't get it, give them 5. The more dramatic, maybe they'll get it. And again, on some level, I'm thinking, you know what? Listen, because when you get to the other side and they say, it's in your file, you're like, I know, I should have got it. They're going to say, beloved, would it help if we turned up the flame a little and made sure 5 of them? Yeah, I deserve that, don't I? Yeah. I didn't get it. Silly me. So you're making a contract to have 5 of them. Now you get here, of course, amnesia sets in. You get birthed in and back to duality where you blame. It's got to be them, duality. I'm over here, you're over there. It must have been your fault. So we're not getting it still. And then you die, you get to the other side. Oh, God, do I have to say it? 10. Give me 10 of them. I have an idea. Make 5 of them have the same name, and I won't be able to miss it. God. And it just goes on, almost humorously, if you think about it in some respects. When you get to the other side, it actually does look funny because it's so ridiculous. How did I miss that? You know, you're a soul that made the whole universe. How did you miss Chad? You know, some guy named Chad. I hope none of you are named Chad. I'm just throwing out a name. How did you miss Chad? You know, who's, there's a lot of signs that that's not a safe person. And, you know, you're like, I didn't realize, blah, 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 blah. And, you know, so you make contracts. And your other side, now you're in this lifetime, why can't I have a partner? And there's all these contracts and agreements. Do not let this slip by me this time. Don't send me any relationships until I really have it together. And they're like, okay, till you have it together. Yes, till I have it. You know that could take a while. Yes. So you'll be 83 when, according to your records, when you're going to be kind of like, you got it together. And you're saying, I don't care because I'm so devoted to my spiritual path. Then you come here, and from the time you're 20 till 83, all you do is complain about not having a partner. And again, we set these things in motion, guys. And it's okay. I'll close with this idea. It's okay. It's totally fine. In God, there's no time, there's no contract, there's no karma, there's no planetary whatevers. You're actually healed and whole. You're a holy child of God. My job now, any of us, is to understand that. Walk with a knowing, not just suspicions. Believe it. Don't just think you believe it. I think I'm a holy child of God. You just allowed a crack in the door for stuff to get in. But I'm not encouraging you to lie to yourself. Oh, no, I totally believe. I totally believe. No, I don't. I think it's healthy to look at it and go, isn't that funny? How part of me absolutely knows I'm a holy child of God. And yet, look at this. Look at how I woke up this morning going, you know, another bad day, another ache, another wrinkle. And, you know, and you pick on yourself and just learn to laugh at it. Because when you laugh at it, you render the ego impotent. You render it incapable of using that thing that you reacted to as a statement of agreement. You get that? So instead of like, oh, I knew nobody loved me, and it takes that as part of a contract, another signed contract against you when you want to change your life. Practice the affirmation, not today, to these voices. Yeah, I hear you, whatever. That's you. That's not my belief anymore. Born in God, born in Christ consciousness. This is my vow, is to know who I really am. And nothing can stand in the way of that other than my beliefs in my contracts and karma and so on. So today I vow to move beyond all of this. Today I vow to know my destiny in God, my goal in awareness and consciousness, awakening the Christ. And whether you're sitting here or online thinking, well, I have questions about relationships or finances, we covered all of them. I might have talked about this one more than that. It doesn't matter. I might have talked to this and not that at all. It doesn't matter. Listen, and you put on the universal translator, and we covered everything that could be going on in your life or your mind. It's still going to come down to belief systems. Okay, so what I heard, Michael, is you made it my fault that I don't have good enough belief systems. Yes, true. But it's not a fault. It's a mistake. All of us believed in these things at one time or another, some days more than others. Our job is to learn to see through them. That voice cannot be the voice of God. Any voice that says to you, you do not deserve, you can't have, it can't be the voice of God that says, you are my beloved child in whom I am well pleased. I am the king of the universe, and you are a prince or princess. All that I am as king, I give to you. Now, how could you lack anything? I'm giving you a charge card, and there's no limit on it. Put everything in my charge. Put everything in my hands, and I'll take care of you. The statement, vengeance is mine, says the Lord. Use anything. Prosperity is mine, says the Lord. Love is mine. Forgiveness is mine. Vengeance is mine. Turn everything over to God, and only good can come from it. Vengeance is mine doesn't mean, let me know who you're mad at, and I'm going to go thump them. You know? What it means is, honey, so hurt. So hurt. I can hear it. I can feel it. This is what it means. Vengeance is mine. Honey, so much. Talk to me about it. Put that on the altar to me. Trust me to take care of it. Not Guido. Hey, I'll take care of that. You just tell me who it is. Who's been bugging you, man? It's God. And God will say, I will transform it. I'm going to teach you how to feel my presence. Yeah, but I wanted revenge. Give it to me. And that's why when we give things to God, we don't get what we want, how we want it, when we want it. The best part of you, it's not just the saboteur. The best part of you is sometimes the thing that's behind delays to your miracles. How could that be? Because sometimes when you say, I want revenge, God says, what you really want is peace. Okay, fine, give me peace, but I want revenge. And God will say, so the peace you're asking for is going to take 10 years to come to you. You know why? Because you still want revenge, and it's going to take me 10 years to get you to let that go. Boom. There was this wow for a moment there, right? It's like, it all makes sense. Please take a few centering breaths. Listen to what you heard, what made sense, absorb what makes sense, release anything that doesn't. Please make sure you don't take on any concepts of heaviness, guilt, shame, blame. It's not it at all. But there does have to be a moment of somewhere, on some level, I must have believed that someone had power over me. I must have believed that I was unlovable, undeserving, etc., etc. I must have believed that it's too much to ask of God. See, it's not always just blatant negatives. Sometimes I think that was asking too much of God to expect something to turn around so quickly. That's another limiting belief. It's all in my heart. It's all in my beliefs. And what that means is that we enter contracts and agreements with people and concepts, not just people. We even enter contracts with concepts, undeserving or patterns, belief systems. And all of these things are just nuts. But it's amazing to imagine that we're told when you allow these things to have power over you, to hurt you, to limit you, this is called having false gods. Why would we call shame a god? Why would we call addiction a god? Because on some level, I value that thing. Unconscious investments. In 12 steps, you might hear somebody say, and what did you get from that? What were you getting? Well, nothing. Wait, breathe. Just try and relax and try it out. What were you getting from that? So everybody for a moment, try this. Think of any negative, any block. Haven't been getting a relationship that you want. Haven't been able to heal your animal that's ill. You can't find a house. You can't afford a house. Cars clunking. Whatever it is that's not getting fixed right away. Try this on for size. I recognize this is happening. In your mind, just name it. Don't minimize it. Don't deny it. Just, okay, there it is. I recognize this is happening. My car's doing this, my job's that, etc. Just name it. But try this. Use your imagination and be spontaneous. If there were any reason whatsoever that I am consciously or unconsciously contributing to this thing being the way it is, what might it be? What am I gaining from the car not working? What am I gaining from not getting the job? Where am I invested? If you're really honest, you'll be able to come up with an answer. If you don't have an answer, yes, it's possible that you're the only person on the planet that doesn't have any connection to their problems. But it's just not likely. Somewhere, there's something going on. Sometimes not being healthy helps people feel sorry for you. Sometimes addiction means I have friends. At least I know I have friends because we party together. That might be it. I don't want to give up partying because then I'll be alone. Look for these things. Try them out. This doesn't change your holiness. It just postpones your awareness to your holiness. So you see, maybe, what's behind some of these things. What would be the worst case scenario if we waved a wand and you were healed or that issue was gone? What would be the worst thing that could happen? Well, my friends would be gone. People wouldn't pity me. See, that kind of a statement, look for it. Just let it be spontaneous. What if you did suddenly manifest a healthy partnership? Look honestly at these things. And lastly, look at the thing you're trying to avoid by having this thing, or by having this thing, either one or both. Try this on for size. This was my attempt to accomplish something, such as to have friends, to get pity, whatever. This was my attempt to gain something. And it didn't work. It could never work. Say that to yourself. I was mistaken to think that I needed this to gain such and such. Man does not live by bread alone means I do not live. I do not thrive by things like this. Negative beliefs and statements. This is not where my life comes from. It comes from the Word of God, the Christ in me. Only remembering who I am can give me what I thought I was going to get from others. The pity I wanted, I don't need because of who I am. All of a sudden I realize partnership is easy. And the quicker, easier way to get it is the least healthy. I'm fine having it manifest to match where I'm at in my healthiness. And if that means one date with a person, that's great. Keep it healthy. If it means 3 years dating, great, keep it healthy. My healthiness comes first. My wholeness comes first. I'm choosing things in my life that reflect who I really am, not reflecting who I'm not. Not reflecting my emptiness, but my wholeness, completeness. And you're saying to yourself, I truly believe this. I truly believe this. Beloved Father, Mother God, it makes me laugh and cry at the same time to imagine how patient you've been with me. I have conjured up things to keep me apart for millions of years. And it's not what I truly want, but because it happened, it tells me part of me did want it. I wanted to delay my return home. And I own that now. I own that I was afraid to come home. I was afraid to become one with you again. But I'm also aware now that that's not my real voice. That's not God in me. So even that voice I give to you. My life, my belief, my thoughts, conscious, unconscious, knowing and unknowing, all the contracts, all the beliefs, everything to this nature. None of it means anything. They're temporary stalling moments to my return home. Today I choose not the many forms of stalling, but the one, return home. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And so it is. Just keep breathing, integrating. Remember, turning our lives around, those who think it's a thinking, you just positive thinking, listen, that's called mechanics, which is not bad. Watch your thoughts. Don't let yourself think negatives. That's mechanical. You know what's organic to make this happen? Love and forgiveness of God, yourself, and others. That's the organic way to turn all this around. The people getting up are getting baskets so that they can do a collection, but just wait a sec. I don't like us to go straight from, the meditation to that, and other things, so I try to give it a minute. Let us integrate. Can anyone share what they learned or heard today that made the most sense, whether it's the meditation or whatever else? Anybody? Yep. What is it? God's listening.
One thing I just really,
I am Christ.
I really have to say that, and I teach other people this all the time, and I give them out all the time, the soul level healing process. If every single person always did that, it would be such a better world.
Practicing soul level healing. Healing beliefs.
Healing beliefs, exactly.
Core beliefs about ourselves. Anyone else?
Not today.
A couple of you dug that one. Not today. Yeah, I mean, come on. I knew that when I was 3, man. Why is it taking everybody so long to realize it? Don't eat vegetables. I'm sure they're good for somebody. Anyone else? Yes. All the references to the cat lady, yeah. God knows where these things come from, man. Please be as generous as you can be. We'll take up our collection. The bags are for your love offerings and donations. The wicker baskets are for any extra donations, people that we help of lesser means. One of you reached out this week and did the processing and the work and trading and exchanging because they were having some struggles financially, and so I'm glad that we could help you. That's because of the folks that share gifts in the wicker basket. People of lesser means, but also special projects. One of those being just outside that door, out here to the left, we have a backyard there that you can go and hang in a hammock or chair. It's just very beautiful, very comfortable. We have a labyrinth over at that end. Really beautiful, really a powerful experience, that labyrinth. And in the center, because of a couple of your donations, we have an obelisk about this tall and a crystal point, beautiful crystal point that's 1.5 feet tall on the top of the obelisk to complete it. And what I think is really great about the various inclusions and things inside the crystal is that when you walk the labyrinth and you let go and look into the crystal, it becomes a wonder, like synchronistic as to what you'll see. Why would I see that? That looks like a lizard, that looks like this and that. Some of them are, somehow they're related to the walk, the journey on the labyrinth you just did. So I love that we got one that it's so beautiful. There's a center in town that helped us get this as well. They helped support us and they found one, and that's the Center for the New Age. Anita's place. Anita's a real gem of a soul in so many ways. So she was helpful too. So thank you for the donations, and we thank them for their help in that. We're going to do our love offering blessing, prosperity blessing. It's on your paperwork in front of you or it's posted online. Together, please. Divine love flowing through me blesses and multiplies all that I am, all that I have, all that I give, and all that I receive. And so it is. Yeah, and one of the other great things, you heard like Roger sharing that he was just talking about this thing that happened, I think it's like 8 or 10 years ago, I can't remember. A long time, and yet it popped into their conversation on the way here.
And I've
And,
literally
you
had
know,
not for 10 years probably even spoken about it. On the, in our 10-minute journey here, we talked about it. I can't remember in what context.
Yeah.
It's exactly that.
Isn't that amazing? So the synchronicities, you know, we call them that, but it's the connectedness of all things. Synchronicities are just the moments we see the connectedness, but the connectedness is always there. All right, so a couple of quick announcements while they're passing those, and we'll do our closing prayer. There are gift bags. We haven't announced these in several months, but there are gift bags. Whether it's you want to give a friend something from the center, it's made simple. Because for, you know, a handful of dollars, just a few bucks, you get a free incense burner, a gift card, and a book by a guy named Michael Mirdad. So you get several things all for, well, how much is it, Dosi? 25 bucks? And you get all these things. So go for that if you can. Those are available anytime, but especially if you have loved ones out of state, you can send these to them, okay? She said 25, but just call it 20 bucks today. Anyway, God, she's going to kill me for that. Anyway, the last couple of announcements. The chaplains are available all week long if ever you need somebody to sit with you, pray with you, counsel with you, hands-on healing. It's pretty cool because they work miracles. You just have to decide you're ready, willing, and able to experience one. We have crystal bed sessions. There's a yurt out here, a healing room. The crystal bed, it's absolutely supernaturally phenomenal. It's really, really amazing what happens hanging out under those specifically cut crystals that are tuning up the body and all the chakras. I mean, it sounds a little woo-woo, but it's amazing stuff. Let's see. If you're on social media or watching, if you're here, great. Thank you for being here. Online, you can watch us on YouTube or on Facebook Live. But we have a whole roster of free videos. You could go watch anything on healing, psychology, relationships. There's playlists that you can check out. Something I almost never remember to talk about is we have DVD sets. Besides my books in the bookstore, DVD sets. And those are phenomenal because you can take a subject like healing and see videos of talks we've done on these topics. So you could just go into a full-on training on any topic. Old Testament, New Testament, there's different topics that we cover. The ones that are the most diverse are called Spirituality 1, 2, 3, 4. I think there's 5 in that series. And each of those has several different topics in it, all right? And let's see. Thank you. Those of you who showed up, we just started Wednesday, a healing circle group. Those of you who were there, how'd you like it? It's really, really deep, very powerful healing circle where it's hands-on healing, support group, a little of everything, but it's very, very deep. So join us for that if you can. It's on Zoom as well as in here. And Saturday, May 11th, and Sunday, May 12th, that's next weekend, a workshop I do once a year called Healing and Mastery. So you can join us there. It's about developing life plan, practice true forgiveness, developing greater focus, effective meditation, discovering soul's purpose, creating fulfilling relationships, and on, because it's about mastery in all areas of your life. Today, however, it's time again, the first Sunday of the month, we do a prayer circle, which started, our opening prayer was where we started it, the closing prayer just now. And then every hour for about 4 or 5 hours on the first Sunday of the month, we do a prayer. So you can join us. Think of it as a free prayer vigil. But when that's over, I think it's around 1 o'clock or so, we also have spiritual studies of the Bible and lost books of the Bible. Yeah, a lot of people are really amazed by that one because we talk about mythology and tie all these stories and things together. So, and it's not a problem if you sign up now. You can just watch the ones we've already done, which is, I think we've had a few already. So just join us whenever you can, all right? It's very, very deep, deep stuff. Answers a lot of questions that a lot of people might have. But I'm glad that we had the sharing that we did today. Our opening prayer felt really phenomenal. But also the topics that you didn't ask that we addressed anyway. I'm glad. Did that work for you? Yeah. So sometimes it's all going to be covered anyway. Like I said, your requests are great because it helps people see that how Spirit can work through us. But they're not necessary. God already knows and already has ideas of what it wants me to talk about, so it'll just come through. But I love the inclusiveness of you sharing what you want to cover. Please stand for our closing prayer. Oh yeah, thank you. We are now in the workings of developing this year's conference, Daughters of Heaven. We did it last year, it's every year. So if you're interested, sign up now. You save, I think it's like $100 or something. But sign up now. It's only a few $100 for the weekend. But join us. It's really, really an incredible conference. If you want to know more about it, go to the website, daughtersofheaven.com. And also in the bookstore, we have books on Daughters of Heaven. All right? Thank you, and blessings to you all. Please take a moment to soak in whatever you feel, whatever you gained. Oh, what is this? What is this? This magic, what did we just experience? Multidimensionality. You don't have to get aboard a light ship to have it. It happens right here. You don't have to have 5-hour meditations. It's right here, right now. I'm here. I'm never alone. And with people like this, alone becomes all one. Thank you for this reflection, Father, Mother, God, that you love me, that I remain as you created me to be, deserving, joy-filled. Help me peel the layers off so that I can know your will for me instead of mine. The light of God surrounds us. We are the light of God. The love of God enfolds us. We are the love of God. The power of God protects us. We are the power of God. And the presence of God watches over us. We are the presence of God. Wherever we go, God is, I am, we are, and so it is. Peace be with you all. Thank you.